So we want to get the palms in the right place, and this pattern starts right here and it radiates out kind of like a firework, a spray if you will. So maybe take your brush and just practice coming out like this a few times with no paint on your brush. And we're going to use the same color, that black-brown mix. And we want to be pretty thin, so I'll use the small brush and I'll make sure that I use the brush on its thin edge so I can get a thinner line. And I just want to come out like this. Load the brush again. Now these are going to come right up off the canvas, out of the plane of the canvas. And they droop in a lovely little pattern. You can go over them more than once. I may stick one right in there. And that's really, let's see, do we want them a little bit longer? Maybe we'll have them come out a little bit longer. This guy, he can be a little longer. That's good. That'll work. That'll do. All right. So that gives us the foundation of our tree. Excuse me. Okay. So now we just go back with that black-brown again and really get that trunk to, we'll have to wait till these palm branches dry a little more to get it to cover. We can work on the trunk for now. So if you look at the trunk of a palm tree, it's pretty, it's got a lovely complicated pattern on it. We're not going to go into too much detail. I'm going to mix some gold, some brown, some white, and I'm going to come back and just kind of come around like this. It's a little horizontal brush stroke. Yeah, that kind of suggests the pattern that you would see on the trunk. And then down here, I want my shadow. It'll have brown, maybe a tiny bit of black in it. I want this shadow to be a little more substantial under the tree. And then if I can take plain black and run it on one side of the trunk. Oops, ever so carefully, to suggest a shadow side. And if our shadow is coming out longer on this side, then this side of the trunk would be in shadow. And then I am just going to kind of blend that back in. I'll go over that pattern again. In fact, I think what I want to do is suggest more light on this side of the trunk with a lighter brown. So that's got the brown and the gold in it. If we can get a base color plus a shadow and a light, it is a simplified form of 3-dimension. If this shadow gets away from us, we're just going to come back with the sand color, the original sand color, and lighten it up a little bit. So it feels a little dark right now, but that's okay. And then maybe just one step lighter on the very edge of the trunk. So that's gold and white. Hopefully, yeah, there's too much water in my brush. I want just the paint, gold and white, and very carefully come along here on this edge. Oops, not showing up. It's blending with the darker. A little more white. And it doesn't have to be a solid line. It can be a broken line. That's fine. Okay, so now our trunk has a little more sense of depth. And then I might go back with the gold again and do some of these little cross lines to suggest the texture. Okay. That's not bad. So acrylic dries really quickly. That's already had time to dry. So that's the black and brown mix. Let's use it to get in here and really get this to cover those clouds in the background, because the clouds are still showing through. No clouds, just tree. All right. Now we're going to work on the green fronds, the palm fronds. So for our green, we need to start with a dark green. We'll mix several greens. We're going to use this really dark green plus a little bit of that brown. Quite a bit of the brown, about half and half. And that should get us kind of a more earthy green. Yeah, maybe a tiny bit of black even. I want it, yeah, no, do I want black? Let's see. If I don't like it, we won't use it. Okay, I'm going with more brown. Okay, we're getting to a murky green. That's what I'm trying to make, is a murky green. Usually I would use red, but there wasn't really a lot of red in this palette, and this brown has a lot of red in it, so it should give us a nice murky green, and it is. There we go. Okay, so that'll be our first layer, and I want to wipe my brush off so that these little bristles come to more of a point. And the way I want to do this is take one frond and start like this and pull away from the main branch. And I want to do that on all of them. So on this side, they're going to curve away. Wipe my brush off a little bit. They're going to curve out this way. And they tend to, gravity pulls them down. So they should fall away from the main branch. Now this guy being more upright, I'm just going to do that on both sides. You might see both sides of his fronds. This guy is going to hang down. And it's going to take 3 or 4 good greens to make this pretty. We're starting with a dark that we can build lights on top of. So these just hang a little more because of the angle of the branch. And if you have some overlap, that's fine. This guy's going to overlap and blend together, but that would happen. Maybe come up over the branch a little bit so that so much brown's not showing through, but we'll get some other greens that cover that. So now that I'm looking at it, do I want a branch right there, or do I leave that open? I think I'll leave it open. I think it works. Okay. So that was our first green, really dark. We mixed brown and dark and the green together, and maybe a smidge of black, but it was just a lot of brown, really. So for our second green, let's just pick up some gold and mix it with the green we just made. And that gets us to a nice lighter green, still earthy though. And let's see if we can see that when we put it on top. Yeah, it's a different green. Let's put a tiny bit of bright yellow with it and see if we like that. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a good green. That's going to show up. Okay, so we put some of the bright yellow with it. Yeah, that works. And so by having the dark underneath, you get a sense of shadow. some of the palm is in light and some's not, so you'd see different greens. And I'm already running out of that green, so I'll have to mix some more. So it was the green plus a lot of brown. Plus some gold. Beautiful. And a little bit of bright yellow. There we go. That's a lovely green. We're going to see that. Okay. Wipe my brush off so I can kind of come to a little more of a point and start pulling over the original dark layer. Make them a little longer if you want. Sometimes I make them shorter than I intend to. So that's 2 greens. I know we'll use at least one more, and we'll just keep getting lighter. So to go lighter, I think I'll just grab some bright yellow and mix it with the remaining green that I already had. Now see how bright that is? That's good. That's good, good, good. Greens are fun to mix. Okay, let's see what he does. Yeah. Okay, let's put a little white in it to make it more dramatic. Even lighter. And that's going to be a good layer. There's some real light hitting that now. There we go. And we won't do as much of the bright. Just kind of pick and choose some areas to highlight. We'll do him first. And that pretty much gives us a convincing little tree. You could add even a little more white if you wanted to have even a brighter layer. And the other thing is that right here, I still see the cloud showing through, so I'll go back to my black-brown mix so I can really get that to cover. Just kind of fill that space in right there. And then to add a little light in there, I'll go back to some gold and just kind of streak it through there. Of course, if the brown's really wet, it may just absorb the gold. There we go, just a little light hitting the interior of the tree. That may be a little more than I wanted, but I could easily blend it back in with the brown. It doesn't hurt to have some gold in your tree. You could even add a little touch of this yellow ochre just randomly into the tree. It's a nice warm sunny color. Does it look like a palm tree? Let's do a little more gold on the trunk, on this little light edge. Oh, yeah, it's kind of working. Should we put a coconut in our palm tree? This will be optional. If you want to do this, you can. I didn't in the original, but why not? Let's stick a little coconut up here. I'll start with black. Let that dry and we'll come back and lighten it up. Okay, so let's go back and play with this shadow down here. I think we'll use the big brush for that. So I'm rinsing it out, and let's go to our sand, which was white plus brown. Something like that. And just come back in here along the edge. See if I can get that to maybe what I'm going to do, since that didn't get me the look I wanted, is I'm going to mix a different ratio of those same colors. So now I've got a little black in there with the brown and the white. And that just makes a nice little color. If we were really fancy, we would paint the palms reflecting on the beach, but I think we're going to keep it simple this time around. So if I take a clean, damp brush and just pull that out, it'll blend a little more. There we go. That's not bad. I don't know if we want to do a little bit of darker. Little shadows in the sand. But the fun part is that if you don't like this, adding the dark shadows into the sand, it's so easy to go back to the brown-white mix and just blend that back out. So maybe that's a little heavy, and I'll just soften it with a little bit of paint on my brush and a really, really light touch, and just kind of knock it back in. And I might want a little bit more white right here on the where it's breaking. So let's just bolden that up a little bit. Maybe this little wave. I think I'm gonna lengthen him a little bit so he's not all the same size as the others. Okay. And if our little coconut is drier, he's not really dry. We'll see what we can do anyway. We'll take the plain brown. Oops, yeah, he's really wet. Okay, I'm taking gold now. Since I know it's going to blend with the black, I can use a brighter color. So I'm trying to leave more of a shadow color at the bottom of the coconut, more of the black, and get lighter. Ooh, that's so wet. Okay, we're just gonna have to wait on Mr. Coconut. I'm impatient though, I wanna get it done. Okay, so go back to gold and brown and lay that in there ever so carefully. I wouldn't have to be this careful if it was drier. And that's kind of too light, isn't it, for a coconut? It really is more brown. What color is a coconut? They're pretty dark. I've got so much water right there. It's like a little puddle. Okay, we're gonna call that a not so great coconut. That was optional. Oh my gosh. Okay, come on. Black and brown. There, that's a little better. Okay, we're gonna call that a painting, a happy little painting. So, I think that does it. And I hope you enjoy it. We can't be on the beach right now, but by golly, we can paint one. And I look forward to painting with you again. So thanks, and stay well. Where's the button? There it is.